An article appeared in a recent USA Today that was interesting. Hundreds of people were surveyed and asked if they were to become wealthy, how would they do it? The number one response was by winning the lottery, followed by receiving an inheritance, and then winning a lawsuit. The problem with all of those examples is that they're all left up to chance. If you want to achieve financial freedom, it's important to choose the right vehicle. As a business owner, you decide if you become financially free and how soon, based on the effort you put in. Well, what exactly is financial freedom? Bert Gulick, a former pizza chain manager in Iowa, who has since built a global business including e-commerce and who now lives in Texas, sums it up perfectly.
Well, what is financial freedom? What's it mean to you? Financial freedom is being in the position that you have enough money to do what you want. Now see, everybody wants to be financially free, but most people don't think about it, and they follow the crowd. Freedom is an interesting thing. All freedom is choices. If you and I walk into a restaurant, we get a menu. I was walked into a restaurant yesterday, we looked through the menu, all these interesting things. I'm always fun because I used to look at the numbers to determine what I was hungry for. Now I can actually look at the food and not worry about the numbers. But you know what? If you and I walk into a restaurant with $1, how many choices do we really have? Not very many. If we walk into that same restaurant with $100, do we have more choices? Yes. So the freedom to be able to enjoy a restaurant to its fullest capacity would be to have enough money to be able to take advantage of what they're providing for us. No different than if we're looking for a home. If we have more money, we have more choices. Want to buy a car? More money, more choices. So freedom is choices. Choices comes from the amount of money that we have to fulfill our dreams. Robert Kiyosaki says that financial freedom is when a person can dream a lifestyle and have enough money without selling their time to be able to live that lifestyle. Now, that to me is a remarkable thought process. I mean, when I think about that, that's right. If you can picture your ideal life and you can obtain that life without having to sell time on a daily or weekly or monthly basis to get that life, then you are financially free.
To have enough money not to have to sell your time on a daily basis to continue living that lifestyle. That's the bottom line. You don't go into business for the sake of business. You go into business for the benefits it can provide. Bert mentioned Robert Kiyosaki's definition of financial freedom. If anyone would know about financial freedom, it's Robert Kiyosaki. He not only teaches financial intelligence, he was also the only author to have 4 books on the New York Times best-selling list at the same time, including Rich Dad, Poor Dad and The Cash Flow Quadrant. He is extremely effective at explaining the various ways to create wealth in an easy-to-understand manner. As Robert states here, there's really only one way for a person to become financially free.
The way the wealthiest people get rich is via business. Like Thomas Edison founded a company called General Electric. Henry Ford founded a company called Ford Motor Company, if you realize. The richest man in the world today, his name is Bill Gates, and he built it off of nothing. He built it in the information age, and that's really what we're here to talk about, because never before has it been easier for an individual to become extremely wealthy rather quickly. You see, in the old days, in the industrial age, it took massive amounts of money, massive amounts of land, and massive amounts of people to get rich. But in the information age, never has it been easier, especially with the internet coming up. The problem is our school system is still programming us for what I call industrial age ideas versus information age ideas. I think really that's the difference. And I don't know if you believe in job security, but I never did. I only had a job for 4 years in my entire life because my rich dad always taught me to build companies, build my businesses, and hire people because it's a lot more secure that way. But these 401ks, I really question them. Some of them will be successful. A lot of them will not be successful. So if you're going to take financial security or financial freedom into your own consciousness, I don't think you can leave it up to somebody else. And to do that, you need to start minding your own business. The good news is it's never been easier to do that.
One of the best ways to achieve financial freedom is by owning your own business. But like Robert explains, building your own business isn't for everyone. Some people are comfortable with the security of a paycheck, but others are willing to step out and earn what they're really worth and not what someone says their job is worth. So how do you determine which person you are? According to Robert, it depends on what you're looking for out of life.
My question today is, what do you want? is that, when the issue I'm saying is, are you willing to start minding your own business, or are you going to spend the rest of your life minding somebody else's business? And if you want to be successful at the risk of being a little uncomfortable at times, then you may want to start minding your own business and thinking like a business owner, not like what the world has trained most people to become. And that's why I sit and talk, because I've looked at your plan. It's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant plan. I'm still in the industrial age drilling for oil, unfortunately. And that's a very capital-intensive, people-intensive, risk-intensive business. What you have is a plan. The reason I mention about that success is expensive, in my world, the industrial age world, when I strike oil, I've got to raise more money. You invest a little bit more into products, into educational things like this. But it's not the intensity of capital that mine requires. Your system, your plan, has set up here is like having a bunch of success coaches.
Most other businesses and all jobs require you to keep working to continue to earn the money. When you stop working, the money stops coming in. Time leveraging is a concept that lets you build income streams today that can continue to have money flow through them tomorrow. Robert Kiyosaki illustrates the concept of time leveraging using this visual analogy.
When I was a little boy, my rich dad told me a story about this little village. And above the village was this lake. And the problem was all the people in the village had to go up every day with little buckets and haul the amount of water back down to the village. So the village elders got together and said, look, we need to get water here so people can do other work. So they put it out to tender, put it out to bid, who was going to bring water to the village from this lake about a mile away. And so they put it out there, and two guys won the bid. So the first guy said, I got one of the contracts, but I also have competition from this other guy. So he immediately goes out and buys 2 buckets, and he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He runs up to the lake, scoops up some water, runs down, pours it into the central holding tank in the middle of the village. And he's running back and forth, but the demand for water keeps going up, so he can't find really that many good employees. So he hires his 2 sons and his daughters and all this, and the whole family is up there hauling buckets of water back and forth. They said, but what happened to my competition? I haven't seen he or she around here for a long time. And so 6 months later, they're just hauling buckets. They immediate cash, and they're getting rich. But the problem is, to get more water, they keep hiring more people and working harder day and night, day and night. Pretty soon they had a 24-hour bucket hauling service going and all this. And when one of the sons went away to college, he said, no, don't forget, you got to come home and take care of the family business. And both sons says, yeah, Dad, sure. I want to work hard for the rest of my life. I don't want to be in the water hauling business. Meanwhile, the guy who also won the bid, he went off, he created a plan. And he hired investors, and he hired an architect. And what they designed instead of a bucket hauling system was they designed a pipeline. And the pipeline ran from the lake a mile away into the village. So suddenly, this guy who's been hauling buckets realizes he has some very serious competition, so he tries to hire more people to compete. The trouble is his expenses keep going up. Meanwhile, the guy who builds the pipeline, his expenses go down. So he can deliver more water at a better price and make more money at the same time, but he has the most important thing, which is free time. And once he realized this is not the only village in the world, if I can build one pipeline, I can build more. And you go out and he built pipelines throughout the world, and he got wealthier and wealthier. Meanwhile, the guy who was hauling buckets just worked harder. He had more employee problems, higher cost, more competition, and didn't know what to do. So that's the story. What happens to people in the E and the S quadrant, employee and the self-employed quadrant, they actually haul buckets back and forth. What the B and I look for are systems. They want systems that produce better product, better price, greater efficiency. And that's how a business owner thinks.
Instead of listening to the critics and competitors, why not listen to the experts? As a young football player coming out of college, I wanted to make it in the NFL. I did not ask advice of the guys who didn't make it, although many of them were eager to tell me how hard it would be for me. I asked the guys who did make it, and interestingly, they not only told me that I could too, they then taught me how. I see the same advantage in this business, experts who will teach us how to be successful. What does self-made millionaire Robert Kiyosaki think about this business?
This is a plan that you can start right now. You can plan to be richer beyond your wildest dreams. The beauty of your plan is it's not limited by anything. It's only limited by how hard you push, how many people you talk to, how many people you're actually a leader to, how many customers you acquired. How many people do you inspire out there to share the vision, to share the plan? That's all it's limited to. That's why the meetings, the conferences, the books can all be vitally important because for me to make it, I had to surround myself with other business owners, people who had lost money, people who had made money, people who are very wealthy. I don't hang around with people who are risk averse. They just want to play it safe. We build businesses. And what you guys have, you provide a system of success coaches, people that'll support you, push you, educate you, encourage you to be the best. It's not so much about the money, but it's about the personal development that your educational system offers. This brilliant system.